Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Hello from wherever you are joining us. I'm Andy, and this is True Blue Quilts. And every Tuesday, I have a live broadcast quilting chat. We're all friends here, and I thank you so much for joining me. As always, drop a comment telling me where you are located and what quilting projects you are working on today or this week. We are in the middle of our summer fun road trip, and I put the link in the description below for the tracking sheet, because every week on my live broadcasts, I mention different states through the United States, so that you can collect points. And in August, at the end of our 12-week road trip, you can enter to win some fun fabric prizes. So I hope you will play along and download the Summer Fun Road Trip tracking sheet, score sheet, and play along. I'd love to hear where your family vacations are, whether that's a trip that you're planning to take this year. I know everybody's so excited to be able to travel again. It's been a long year, 18 months now since people have been out and about, and it's wonderful that we are getting back to the normal activities, the fun summer events. I have so many fun memories of traveling with my family as a kid. Summer vacations were definitely a highlight. We did not live in the same states as our grandparents, and so vacations were always that family reunion time when we would travel to see various members of the family. I also grew up in an Air Force family, and summers were moves. So we had several cross-country treks to relocate as a kid. I've hopefully encouraged that love of travel with my daughter. We've taken several big family vacations. This year wasn't quite as big. My husband's swamped at work, so he can't get away with us, but we were able to spend a few days at the beach a few weeks ago, and that was a lot of fun. So one of the big destinations for a lot of people is our wonderful national park system in the United States. So I'd love to hear where some of your memories, if you've been able to visit some of our national parks. I'd love to hear about that. For the Summer Fun Challenge this week, I've got 2 clues for you. You'll have to do a little bit of internet research, dig into those memory banks to put a state with the location, and then you can mark that off on your tracking sheet. But Yellowstone National Park, it's actually on the border, so I'll give you a little bit of leeway as to which state or states that you check off for Yellowstone National Park. A glorious place I've had a chance to visit a couple times. The Old Faithful Geyser is a fun attraction. The wonderful wildlife that you see, and just the amazing views of big, open space meadows and rivers running through the landscape, as well as some mountains and canyon forest adventures as well. Lots of fun memories of Yellowstone National Park. So I encourage you guys to come out west and see that for yourself. In terms of quilting destinations, I would love to visit the International Quilt Museum in person. So track down what state that is located in. The International Quilt Museum would be a fun road trip. They actually do a wonderful job of internet presentations, and I subscribe to their monthly newsletter, and they have a quilt of the month, and they do a great job of giving you photographs and virtual tours. So I encourage everyone to look up the International Quilt Museum and take a look at their offerings. Quilting has such a wonderful history and a variety. Some of these quilts from 100 years ago have sparked the modern improv quilt movement of today. And so it's really interesting to see how those themes carry over from generation to generation, and everything becomes new and fresh, and is a wonderful heritage that we all share in our quilting community. So I've given you 2 clues for our summer fun road trip. So download the tracking sheet. I hope you'll play along. There will be wonderful fabric prizes in August. So stay tuned for that. And if you are joining me on the replay, I want to say thank you for taking time out of your day to spend some time with us here. Drop me a comment. I love to hear where all my quilt friends are hanging out. The quilt behind me, you may have seen before. It was featured this last week on my most recent YouTube video where I shared my top 5 favorite quilts. This is Directions, and we have wrapped up our 6-month block of the month for this first round in 2021, but I am thinking about reopening and starting a new group of sew along for Directions. So if you'd be interested in that, be sure to sign up for my newsletter at bit.ly/T True Blue Quilts. I spelled that out for the newsletter sign up, so you can stay up to date with all of the fun happenings. I've got several quilt alongs planned for the fall. So hopefully everybody from their initial New Year's resolutions and new project excitement from January of 2021, you're ready. You finished up those initial projects and you're ready to start something new. I have some fun ideas coming up. So good to see you. Glad that you are here. But I have been a little bit tardy in finishing up a contest that I was running, and I need to select some fabric for the winners. So I have my bin of 2. Here, I'll turn the box around so we aren't covered up with some labels. We've got some fun 2.5-inch strips. I like to, when I am cutting out fabric for a quilt and you have that left over, or you're trimming the quilt after it's been quilted and you're ready to put on the binding and you have those leftover bits of fabric, I love to cut my 2.5-inch strips because I just am really inspired by that unit, and I find a lot of designs and blocks can be made with 2.5-inch strips, squares, pieces. You can mix and match and have a lot of fun. So I need to pick out a rainbow selection from my 2.5-inch squares. So I'd love your advice as to how many strips should I put in there. Postage will get a little bit cumbersome for a full jelly roll. I don't know that I could get up to 40. I mean, I certainly could, but these are some of them are in fairly small chunks. So we'll use that as our first guideline. I need to find some longer strips. So first up is we've got a nice graphic purple and green, and that's a good over 20-inch length, so I will include that one. And these others are, well, actually, this whole selection is pretty good. They're pretty bold graphic prints. Do you think you could come up with something, put those in something, or should I stick to more kind of tone on tone? I'll probably do that, but that was a nice yellow. And then we've got some Tula Pink is always fun. And I love K Facet. This is one of his blue, can't remember if this was called Pebbles or something. I don't know. I'm naming it Pebbles. I'm sure it has a more official name, but I think Kaffe Fassett fabric goes with everything because he just puts little pops of color. This is a primarily blue strip. And I'm sorry, my webcam and the lighting in here is a little bit grayed out, but this is a nice royal blue. But then he's got some almost teal gray and yellow, and even a little bit of lavender in this fabric. It's really pretty. So we will include that. So I've got some, we'll put another nice purple in. I can't remember if this was Tula Pink or Allison Glass. Again, I just mix and match everything. So we'll put those colors in, and I'm like, I feel like the cat or the clown or the magician. I'm pulling out this huge strip. I was making a jelly roll quilt a while back, and you can find the recording on my YouTube channel. And I just took bunches of my scraps. And so some of these, like I said, are only 3 inches long, and I sewed them all together by color. And then I had a huge amount of colors that I could use in a jelly roll race. So you can find that quilt, but that's not great for a gift. Here is a nice tone on tone green that I will include. Again, I'm trying to find strips that are at least 20 inches wide, and I've got a nice light blue. Don't you just love playing with fabric? I love to collect it and try different combinations together, and it's so inspiring. I'm so glad that I found this hobby. I was going to include these nice bright pinks, but they're only about 10 inches long, and I want to stick to the longer pieces. So we need to dig further down in the bin to find some other good stuff. That's a fun multicolored dot, a little bit shorter than the others, but hopefully the winner won't mind. Oh, I've got some good neutrals, and this is a really long piece, so I'll throw that in. It's kind of a cream diamond shape print. And what colors do you gravitate towards or away from in your quilting? I'm always fascinated by people's color choices, and let me dig down in here and find some fun multicolors. At one point, I sorted this whole bin by color. So I have nice big stacks that are by color. Obviously, I'll need to do that again here after I dig through everything and get it all reorganized. But again, these are just small chunks of things that I've used throughout the years. So I love those really scrappy quilts, kind of like Bonnie Hunter does, that are just wild and crazy and fun. And you have so much fun just looking at all the different fabric choices that are put together. Here is, I have to clean up a little bit of the random threads that get on those. But here's a nice black tone on tone. Sometimes we tend to stay in those middle ranges of color, and we need to liven it up with some other choices. And again, I chopped all these chunks down, so they're pretty small. We'll leave that. And this is a little bit different shade of green. It's more in that grassy sage looking, but that's a nice long strip. So I will include that. These are all kind of soft colors. I need to find some darker, like a good fire engine red, but I'm thinking I sewed that all up in my jelly roll race, but I did find a nice bright red there. That's a long enough strip. And I promised a rainbow selection, so I'm just looking here to see what I've got. Yellow, blue, green, red, maybe some orange if I can find an orange down here without making too much of a mess. Orange tends to be hit or miss for some folks. And I was making a quilt for a friend and she wanted orange. So that was like the one time I've made a totally orange quilt. It was so much fun and a little bit challenging to find all sorts of different oranges. But there's a nice kind of mottled orange that will give that nice accent. And so that is, I'm just digging through here. So much fun. I've cut some into squares. I was doing scrappy 9 patches for a while, so I had pre-cut squares, and I would just randomly grab those as leader ender projects. Oh, here's a nice cream batik. Just a really subtle design, but that's a really nice piece of fabric. So I've got a good selection there. So I will be able to get that prize bundle off to the winner there of that previous contest. If you're looking for additional fabric contests, ways to win free fabric, hop over to my blog. I have a current giveaway going on with the monthly color challenge post. So take a look at that. And yeah, we've just had a fun short chat here this morning. Remember that right now the focus is on listening for those states for our summer road trip challenge, and you need to figure out which state you can mark off for Yellowstone National Park and the International Quilt Museum. So keep track of that on your summer fun road trip tracking sheet, and more information is in the description below. Thanks for hanging out with me, and we will see you next week. Have a good day.